You understand the attention you have to give one's child when you got 22 kids and like Wilma Rudolph's mother, taking her to the doctor for 3 years straight, getting her legs treated so she can learn how to walk all over again and come out of the braces. And the mother and the father were giving her that attention, that love. When you think about the children they had to already attend to, it took some intensified attention to that child. So one can imagine that from birth to age 6, one can imagine Wilma Rudolph never thought she would become an Olympic track runner. I don't think that Wilma Rudolph thought she was going to become a figure like she did. But yet, Wilma Rudolph was put in a position because she had to fight for something. She had to fight to be socially accepted because she was wearing braces. She had to fight to be socially accepted among her peers. And when Wilma Rudolph finally came out of the braces, she had something to fight for. She had to fight for a position. She had something to fight for. So what did Wilma Rudolph end up doing? Wilma Rudolph ended up going to her high school, taking her high school basketball team to the national championship, winning, because she had to fight for a place. She had to fight for something. She had been put into a position of leadership. How has she been put into a position of leadership by just going to play for a basketball team? Well, her track coach saw her playing basketball, saw that she was the fastest woman on the team. He said, listen, you got some skills, you're fast, I want you to come and run for my track team. He took her and he mentored her, he took her and he practiced with her, he took her and he trained her to become the fastest runner and to become one of his track stars, and she became the fastest runner. And what then happened was, Wilma Rudolph went on to go into the Olympics, winning 3 gold medals, 1 bronze over in Rome, right? Going to win all of these gold medals. How she put into a position of leadership yet, Marcus? Success is not what you think. Hear me out. Success is not what you think. See, everybody want to give you this motivational fluff talk, right? Everything is bubbles and butterflies and lily pads, okay? That's what everything, they want to give you, have a positive attitude and everything will be okay. But when you got to fight for a position, it takes some real anger. It takes something to be fired up about. You see, policies doesn't change until the people are fed up. You see, legal status and legislation doesn't change until people are fed up. When people get angry. And so what did Wilma Rudolph end up having to do? Wilma Rudolph ended up having to go over to Rome, where she was the most beloved woman, becoming the fastest woman in the world. But when she got back over here, she was reminded of Tennessee Jim Crow South. She was reminded that she was a black woman. And she used her position to do what? She said, you know what? I am the fastest Olympic black woman runner in the world. I come back to my own country and I'm hated. I'm racially discriminated against. No. So what did she end up doing? She ended up running even for something bigger. She stepped out of the braces, not only to win just 3 gold medals, but she came back to Clarksville, Tennessee, and got the highway named after her because she did something bigger. She came back to Clarksville, Tennessee, and got statues built in her honor. She came back to Clarksville, Tennessee, and got awards built in her honor. She came back to Clarksville, Tennessee, and they were giving her Women's Hall of Fame, Women Athlete Hall of Fame, Olympic Hall of Fame. Why? Because she saw something that was greater that she had to fight for. She had to fight to be socially accepted, but she had to fight to be racially accepted also. She had to fight for something. And so she used her position, her leadership position. She used her platform to do what? To go and fight for women's rights. To go and fight for women's rights to vote. Becoming one of the catalysts to women's rights. And so this woman used her platform to go into civil rights movement. To use it and say, you know what? I'm the most beloved person in Rome, but I come back and this is what I'm facing. I can't allow my position. I can't allow this position I have to just go to waste. She went back and taught at the colleges. An Olympic runner could have retired, but she said, you know what? I want to change the mindset of everybody I come in contact with. And she had to get put into a position of leadership because she had to fight for something. She had to fight to be accepted. And this is what success really is. It's having to fight for something. It's blood. What's the difference between reason why I chose a boxer and a football player? There are many injuries in other sports, but there are a lot of injuries in boxing that, although you might not know, I used to box. Although you might not know or you might not see the injuries, but just look at Muhammad Ali. I'll use that as an example. The head injury, the brain injury one causes on the brain. The trauma that you go through from being pounded over and over and over and over again. It's a blood sport. Football is a blood sport. People break bones for this success. People break bones and people go into comas. People die over this kind of success. Success is not what you think. Success is not the feel-good message that every motivational speaker want to get in front of you and talk about. I'm here to tell you from experience, this thing is a cruel battle. It's going to take some willpower. It's going to take tremendous will to fight for a place in this world. And so you got fighting for a position in life made her a leader and gave her a platform. And this is what I want to say about attitude. Where will you stand? Where will you stand in times of trouble, trials, tribulation, confusion, frustration? Where will you stand? This is the attitude. Again, everybody say attitude. Oh, just get rid of the negative people and be around happy people. If I'm happy all the time, let me tell you something. If I'm happy all the time, shoot me. I want to have something to be fired up about. I want to have something to go for. If I'm happy all the time, then I don't see anything. My eyes are blind to anything that I need to change about me. Because I'm always happy. I don't need to change nothing. You know? I'm like this, and you're dumbfounded everywhere you go. Right? So it's about attitude, right? Attitude. And I had to look at, okay, in honor of black history, trying to use and scrape these names together that represents black history. And I had to look at who are the leaders in black history. I could have went to many black leaders, Mary McLeod Bethune. I could have went to names you never even heard of, James Henry. I could have went to a lot of names that I know all about. But I had to choose the obvious, right? I chose the obvious because the obvious, they made pointed statements in a change of our history, in a change of black history. They made pointed statements. And the statements one made is because of an attitude like Rosa Parks. Now, when you think about this, she said, I had no idea I was going to change history, right? She said, I was just tired of giving up. The question is, when are you tired of being sick and tired? When are you tired of taking it how it is for you? When are you tired of just accepting the way things are? When are you tired and when are you going to get up and say, you know what? I'm going to stand up for something. Rosa Parks made a stand by taking a seat. She said, I didn't know I was going to change history. I was just tired of giving up. When are you tired of giving up? It's going to be hard. Yes, she knew that. She knew it was going to be hard. It was going to be a battle. But yet she went in knowing this is what I have to do. She went in knowing this is what I have to do to free my people. She had an attitude of aggression, saying, you know what? This is it. This is it. And what did she do? Back to the Martin Luther King now. So when they were calling Martin up, Martin, we need you to be the leader of the civil rights movement. Martin, man, I just want to preach my sermons, collect my tithes, and go about my business. That's what I want to do. Y'all leave me alone. Right? That's what Martin wanted to do. Right? Because I've done many speeches on Martin Luther King. I study his life a great deal. So Martin surveyed the landscape. He surveyed the land, and he saw nobody willing to come with him and join him in this fight. He saw nobody with him until he saw Rosa Parks coming knocking on his door. Martin, I need your help. And when Martin saw that this woman was willing to take the stand with him, then Martin said, you know what? I found one. I found one that's willing to go and willing to fight with me, and I'm going to go. And what did she do? She came and knocked on the door. Martin, I need you to be the leader of the bus boycott movement. I want to stop the segregation of bus segregation. I need you to come. We want to boycott the buses. Right? And when Martin saw just one, ready to fight with him, 382 days did the buses stop running with black folks on them. Because people were willing to fight. 13 months. Woo. No black folk rode that bus because Martin had the will, Rosa had the will. They knew what they had. They had an attitude of changing something in their life. And so, what happened? Lyndon B. Johnson said, hey, it's not right for us to go and segregate buses. We want to make sure everybody can get on this bus and ride. It's not fair for blacks to be sitting in the back. So Lyndon B. Johnson passed the bill, removed the segregation of the buses out of the way. Martin got on that bus and sat in the front seat as that bus rolled down. They had an attitude to change something in life for their people. And you might not see the success like Martin never saw it. Martin never saw the dream. And we're still fighting for this dream. You better believe this. We are still fighting for that dream. But Martin never even got to see a little piece of it. There's some of it here. I get to sit in the room with my comrades, my fellow white folks and Latino folks, and we get to congregate amongst each other. Because Martin said, you know what? I found one. I found one. And for 382 days, when he found that one, they said, you know what? We're not going to ride another bus. And they were trying to inject lies into the, oh, they're taking cabs and they're getting rides, catching rides. The blacks are doing this. You know, FBI were trying to inject lies into the movement, saying that Martin and everybody else were taking other rides everywhere they went, to work. But Martin said, no. He was waiting and willing to see someone stand up and fight with him. When he saw that Rosa was ready to fight, he said, this is what I want to do. And Martin became the leader of the civil rights movement. And then what did happen with Rosa? It ended up making Rosa the catalyst for the women's rights vote. Leaving it for Wilma Rudolph to pick up and run with, and other women like her. And everybody say Rosa wasn't the first woman to not sit, Ida B. Wells as well, but they always say Rosa wasn't the first, and that's true. But when you look at what they did, it made a statement. It made a big statement. It said, you know what? I'm willing to go down for the cause because I got an attitude of saying I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of accepting it the way it is. I don't want it like this anymore. So Martin joined with Rosa, and success is not what you think. It takes an attitude. It takes an attitude to say, I'm done, I'm sick of having it this way. It wasn't until I looked at my life and I realized some things had to change about me. They always say, change your surroundings, and I'm like, no, change your sounding. Change what's going on in here. Change the music that you're tuning into, literally. Change the music that you're tuning into. Change what you're seeing. Change the things that's going on in your life. Yes, change the people too if you have to. But make sure you're looking within. Make sure you're going within. Make sure you're saying, you know what, this is not working for me. I need to find another way and a better way. So Rosa was doing a lot. Martin was doing a lot. Fighting together. Character, building that character up. Martin had that character of integrity. Being found doing the same thing. Although Martin was never a pristine man. He was not a pure man. But when it came to his body of work, there was integrity there. He never changed his rhetoric. And it was consistency. You always found him from the beginning to the end, still talking the same thing, consistently over and over and over and over again. And when I think about consistency, it really makes me think about, and I'm not trying to plug, but this book. I wrote this book. It's called 365 Days of Sweat. Sweat is is a daily inspirational book. You read one a day, right? One page a day for a full year. I had to think about when I wrote that first inspirational passage. I had to think beyond, what I was seeing in front of me. I had to say, oh my God, 364 more days of this? When I was knowing that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to go in and write a passage, an inspirational passage every day. I didn't want to write it all in one day. No, I wanted the thoughts to come freely to me. And so when the thoughts were coming freely to me, I was writing them down consistently every single day. And after that 1 year, I celebrated, had my book printed. There it is, right there, which you can get on Amazon.com. Thank you. But this is what it takes. And then I had to think about, okay, I had to go into some personal reflection. I heard Les Brown said something. He said, you got to write your book because it's what's in you to do. You got to write the story of your life because that's what's in you to do. It's not about who's going to see it. It's about getting it out. And that's what happened with me. I wasn't worried about who was going to see it. But later on down the road, the book came naturally. Because I wasn't worried about who was going to see it, who was going to read it, who get it, who didn't get it. I was worried about these are the thoughts inside of me that I got to get out. I got to change about me. Right? And then you go and you look at what kind of a human will you be? When you think about personal development, self-reflection, what kind of a human will you be? What will people take you for, and what are people getting with you? You know, I'm a poet, and I wrote a poem about Nina Simone. It wasn't about Nina Simone, but it started out with Nina injected in it, and it went on to other things because it was her poem that triggered it was her documentary that triggered the writing of that poem. But as I was watching her documentary, and I was reading and watching the documentaries of people like James Baldwin, and I had to think, these two people have something in common. These two people fled the country because of racial discrimination and prejudice. Both of them said the same thing too. They said, I was going to kill a white folk if I didn't leave here. They said, I was going to kill, James Baldwin actually threw something at a waiter's head. A dish at a waiter's head because James Baldwin didn't like what he was, the discrimination he was getting. He didn't like what he was receiving on the end of racial discrimination. And James Baldwin had to go within this self-reflection. He had to look within and say, what is it that I must do? Because I'm going to kill one of these people over here. Nina Simone said, I got to get out of this country because I'm going to kill somebody over here. And so they fled. But they didn't flee because they were more scared of killing somebody. They fled because they had a love and a passion for their people. They had a love and a passion deeply moved by their people's suffering. They were suffering for their people. And they couldn't take it anymore, so they got out. Those were kind of humans. They were. They were like, I got to fight, and I got to fight a different kind of a fight. James Baldwin said, I got to fight a different kind of a fight. And when James Baldwin saw, okay, who am I going to be? He had to say, you know what will people take me for then? He said, what will they take me for? James Baldwin went on to become one of the best playwrights in our country, the best author and novelist in our country. And he went over to France, knowing that if he wrote his books over here, they would not get accepted. They would not get published because he was writing in a racial time about racial times. So James Baldwin had to leave to get his books published. So he went to Paris, went over to Paris, wrote everything about racism in our country, and won all kind of awards for his books. What kind of a human would you be when James Baldwin looked, hey, I'm about to kill one of these people, but you know what? Let me just take a step back, go within, and self-reflect for a moment. And he went within, and he started to write. He started to write about what he saw in his novels, and what you have now is beautiful arts of masterpieces that still sell every day. Because James Baldwin had to take a look within and say, if I don't leave, I'm going to kill someone. But he had something deeper within him. See, him wanting to kill someone was the writings. Him wanting to hurt somebody was the writings he had within him. He said, I got to deal with this some other way. I got to deal with this somehow. I have to deal with this now. And he went on and wrote best-selling books, right? So the unexamined life, as Socrates says, is not worth living, right? You have to examine yourself. You can't play the blame game. You can't be pointing at people saying, this is what happened to me. If you continuously, what I like to say is, if you continue to make blame, you lose focus on making gains. That's so true. Right? So what do we do? Instead of looking to find someone to blame it on, go within and say, what can I change about me? That can change my surroundings. I can't change my surroundings, but I can change me and everything around me. You look within. You have to go within yourself. This is why I say success is not what you think. It's not the self-help books you read and the feel-good messages. It's not the lullabies at night that you hear. It's the cries from a mother who's pain because of a son who died from racial discrimination. What kind of a human will you be? Will you go out and fight for that suffering of your people or others? Will you go out and do something about that change? You see, and then when they looked at it, I say success is not what you think. You have to think about the leadership that it takes. Where will you stand in life? You have to choose a side. There is a dividing line. You're on either one or you're on the other. You're on the side of the oppressed or you're on the side of the oppressor. You have to choose a side. Success is not what you think. Every one of these people I chose. The reason why I chose these people, because I want you to see that it took a battle, but they made differences, they made gains, they made changes. It wasn't Rosa Parks' reflection without and saying, you know what, racial discrimination, and I'm going to continually take this segregation of the buses because I can't do nothing about racial discrimination. No, she saw within what she could do. She said, you know what, this is what I can do.